In today's tutorial, we're going to be answering an A-level maths past paper question based on partial fractions. And if you're studying WJEC, this is now in the new spec, this would be unit 3 of the A2 course. So let's have a look at the question. So we've been asked to express this fraction in terms of partial fractions for 4 marks. So the key thing to really get from this question is, well, what is partial fractions? Now, partial fractions is, well, the easiest way to explain it is through saying it's the opposite of when you cross multiply fractions to make one fraction. So when you're doing partial fractions, what you're effectively doing is breaking this fraction up into however many components it has. So if it's 3 or 2, but the key thing is we're separating and breaking up this fraction. So that's what we must bear in mind when we're answering questions on this topic. So let's answer the question that we have for today. So the first thing I'm going to start by doing is just writing this question again. So 5x squared plus 7x plus 17 x plus 1 squared x minus 4. So just to add some clarity to what we're doing here, we need to be careful about x plus 1 squared because this is a repeated denominator. So when we write this again on the right hand side, the first thing I'm going to do is write this symbol here. So this is an identity symbol. So what we're saying is whatever's going to be on the right hand side, it's going to be same as the left hand side. Even if we may not know some of the parts yet, it's going to be the same. So first thing to note, the first fraction is going to be a over x plus 1 squared. So a just means we don't know what the top is yet, the numerator, but we know the bottom is x plus 1 squared. So that's our first fraction. Second one, so we're going to use b, and this time it's just going to be x plus 1, so without the squared. So it's just x plus 1. And third fraction in this case would be c over x minus 4. So we're not using any of the x plus 1s, it's just the x minus 4. So you could see I used a, b, c. You could really use anything, but it's just easier to use a, b, c. You're just going up in the alphabetical order, so it's just easier. So next part to answering this question. What we need to realise now is, what we want to do is we want to times the denominator by both sides. So we're going to times x plus 1 squared, x minus 4, that's the whole denominator, by both sides. So what does that mean in terms of the next part of answering this question? So what we're now going to do is, well, on the left hand side, if we're timesing it by the denominator, it's going to just cancel it out effectively. So we're just going to be left with the numerator. So that would be 5x squared plus the 7x plus the 17. We're gonna still keep with this identity symbol. And now this is important. This is the next part is very important. So x plus 1 squared. So when you times it by this whole expression here, x plus 1 squared, that will cancel, which will leave x minus 4. So that's going to be ax minus 4. So the second fraction now, so with b, one of the x plus 1s will cancel, but because it's squared, you've got 2 x plus 1s. So you're going to still keep 1 x plus 1. You haven't done anything with x minus 4, you just times it, so you're going to definitely be keeping that. And I'm just going to come down on the next line. So we're going to run it because we're running out of space. So with c, x minus 4 will cancel, so this will cancel, but we're going to be maintaining x plus 1 squared because we can't cancel our out with anything. So instead of writing x plus 1 squared, I'm just going to write x plus 1. It'll just be easier to solve and see the solutions for the next part. So this is what we're working with. And now this leads us on nicely to the next part of answering this question. So we still want to find A, B, and C. And the way we're going to do that is looking at what we're going to put in for X here, so that we can easily find one step at a time each of the letters, so what number they stand for. So first thing I'm going to look here is I'm looking at X minus 4 here. So I'm looking at X minus 4. Now straight away what I'm seeing is, let's say if I put a 4 in for X here, I can effectively cancel out two of the expressions straight away, which will just leave us with C. So that's what I'm going to do for the first part. So I'm just going to move that from here for the time being. So I'm going to say let X equal 4. So I'm just going to do it in a different colour now. So left hand side first, we need to put X equals 4 in. So 5, so that's going to be 4 squared plus 7 lots of 4 plus 17. Now we're going to use an equal sign, and we're going to say that if we put 4 in just again, so if I just show you here, A, and I'm putting in 4, so 4 minus 4, we can just see that's just A times 0, so I mean that's just 0, so we don't need to write that down. So we don't need to worry about A, we don't need to worry about B either, because we're going to have a 4 here, and then that's going to also cancel B out. C, on the other hand, we're going to put 4 in, and we're going to get an actual number, and then C. So I'm going to write C, and then that's going to be 4 plus 1, which is 5. And then likewise, that's the same for the second part, so that's just going to be 5. And sorting the left-hand side out first, if we just simplify this whole thing down, we're going to get 125 equals 5 times 5, which is just 25, leaving us with 25C. And doing the numbers on this, just divide by 25, it's the easiest thing you could do. That's going to leave us C with 5. So we've got one of the letters sorted. So if we're looking at A, B, C, we've got C. So we still need to work out A and B. So that's going to be our second part now. So what can we put in now for X to do some more cancelling out? So we've done 4 already, so we can't do 4 again. We're just going to get C again. So let's say if I put minus 1 in, we can see here that that's going to cancel C out, because when you put minus 1 here, we're just going to get 0. And if we put with the B here, if we put minus 1, that's also going to cancel B out. So we could work out A now if we put minus 1 in. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to say let X equals minus 1. And switch to brown, and same with the left hand side, so we're just going to do 5 minus 1 squared plus the 7 lots of minus 1, add the 17. See what we get here now. So minus 1 minus 4, so that's going to lead us with minus 5A, and the rest cancels out when you put minus 1 in. So breaking this down, so I'm just going to put the left hand side on a calculator, so if you just bear with me 1 second. So 5 lots times minus 1 squared plus 17 minus 1 plus 17. So in terms of this answer, just double check if I've done it right. 1 plus 17. So we're going to get 15. And right hand side minus 5A. So just divide through by minus 5 again. So we're going to get A as 15 divided by minus 5, so that's minus 3. So that's good. So now we've sorted out A and C. So all we have left now is just B now. And that's going to be the part 3 now of solving this question. So what we now need to think is, what X value can we put in so we can just easily work out B now? And the easiest, you could do a number of X values here, because you know A and C, because so then basically you've just got one variable left to solve. But I'm just thinking, if I put X equals 0 in, this will be easier to solve. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put let X equals 0. and this will probably be the easiest thing you could do. So just if you go back here, so we've got 5x squared plus 7x plus 17. So when we put 0 here, it's just that's all going to be 0. So left hand side we just got 17, and okay, what about the right hand side? If we just go back up here, we're going to put 0 in now. So the first part, a x minus 4. So 0 minus 4, that's going to be minus 4a. Plus, what about b? So that's what we're solving. So I'm just going to put here b. We're going to put a 0 here. So that's going to be just 1. That's going to be 1. And the second fraction now would be minus 4. That's going to be minus 4. And then what about c? X plus 1, x plus 1. So when you put 0 in, that's going to be just going to be c, isn't it? Yeah, that's correct. That's just going to be c. So breaking this down now, we know what a is already because we solved it already. That's minus 3. So that's minus 4 minus 3 plus b. Well, that's what we're solving. So that's minus 4 plus c. We've also found c already, which was 5. So we're just going to put 5 in straight away. Leave the left hand side as it is. Minus 4 times minus 3, that's positive 12. Minus 4b, and then we've got the plus 5 on the end. And let's just keep going with the right hand side. 17 minus 4b. Take the 17 over, so that's a 0 equals minus 4b. And we can see with this case, b is actually just 0. So b is 0. So we've got all our letters sorted now. So I'm just going to summarize this on the bottom. So I'm just going to do some different color now. Let's do green. So what did we say a was? So a was minus 3. B we just figured out. That was now 0. And then C we also worked out, which was actually 5. So you could leave the answer here, but the best thing to do to show the examiner is write this now on the right hand side originally. So if we go back to the question, we could see we had 5x squared plus 7x plus 17. So I'm just going to write that here again. So 5x squared plus 7x plus the 17. And then on the bottom we had x plus 1 squared, x minus 4. So that was x plus 1 squared, x minus 4. And I'm going to use that symbol we've been using in this video. That's the identity symbol. And I'm just going to put down what we've figured out. So a was minus 3. And if you remember, the first denominator was x plus 1 squared. So that'll be x plus 1 squared plus b, which is 0. So we could write 0 on the top here. And x plus 1. And finally, c would be 5 bottom x minus 4. That's just a nice, neat way to show the examiner that you've really understood how to answer this question. So that's what I'm doing in the box, is what I'd write in the exam to finish the question up. And that is it. So that's how you answer this question on partial fractions. And let's just go right to the start and see where the marks are at. So first mark you're going to get, I'm just going to do this in purple here. First mark is writing the general form A, B, C. So that's your 1 mark there. Second mark, that's going to come from going from this stage into that stage. So that's your 2 marks. So that's your 2 marks there. And final, so we've got 4 marks. So the final mark is going to be getting all these letters here. So that's your final mark there. And that means you can get 4 marks on this question like this. The more practice you do with partial fractions, the quicker you'll get, and then the easier it will be to get 4 marks time just quicker in the exam. So just to start off with, that's the way I'd fully break down this question and how to do it. So that was partial fractions, and I hope that was helpful.